Check one. Sorry, I'm late. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Sorry about that. Oh, I got thrown off a little bit. It's always the worst day. The worst day is the day before Alice goes into town, which is tomorrow on Wednesday, which means my day tomorrow is a clusterfuck. And I hate it. And I don't love it. And I don't love that she does it. And I think it sucks. It just throws me off for tomorrow. I'm in for Jerry tomorrow. Again. That's always good. It's a good 50 minutes or so. And obviously when I'm in for Jerry, the only problem with being in for Jerry is like by tonight now, I was in for Jerry this morning, and then I did Main Wire TV, and then since a lot of that content is redundant, since Maine is where it's at right now, I don't know what I've played here and what I haven't. I think there's just one cut that I haven't played from last night. There's a whole bunch of people going nuts stuff. So the latest on the main stuff is that, and by the way, it got worse for Featherston. These psychos up there, man. They slashed his tire this morning on his car, on his truck. Got to be an expensive tire. He's got to buy like 4 now, I think. Frig. I do not like that. I would not like that. I would go, if I couldn't work myself into a homicidal rampage, I would certainly cry. But yeah, so Featherston, some Biddeford protesters slashed his tire, and I mean, these people are psychos. We've gone through how they're psychos, and now like the professional class has gotten there into Biddeford, Maine. The ICE shot and killed a guy, 26-year-old father just trying to get out for the day, and I don't know what happened. You're hearing a lot of people say it wasn't a good shooting, or what I mean by good, or technically it was a good shooting. There's just no information, and there's nothing that any video showing anybody right now. But I know one thing. I know that I assume compliance was an issue, and if it wasn't, then I apologize. And I also know that, you can't invite millions of illegals into this country, and then when you're extracting them, expect there not to be problems and health problems and deaths. I'm sorry, like, you wear that, left. You guys did this crap when you didn't give a frig a few years ago when it was just fine because it was your day, your guy. So I am not interested in really what the left has to say about this. And they're like, oh man, it's the policies of Donald Trump and F you. And like, you guys don't know anything. You're fucking stupid. You didn't care about Epstein until you thought you had Trump snared. You didn't care about any of these things. You're frigging just angry. That's the whole truth of it all. You're just effing angry. So now that's what we're dealing with. So now the ICE now has been bitten by the bad publicity, which of course they have, which is terrible, because it's not as if so they broke, and now they've, let's see. ICE is salty, and so, ICE isn't salty. People are salty at ICE, and so now we've changed the investigation, and the Homeland Security has said, nope, we're told immediately to temporarily stop most vehicle immigration stops after the 2 fatal shootings in recent days. By the way, there was another death today. This one was on foot. So now these guys are going to be safe now if they want to hide in a car. There's a reason why they do these motor vehicle stops, because they're easier and safer for ICE to do them. That's why they do them. Here's Tom Homan talking about what's going on, what changes they're doing. It doesn't quite quell with what McMulty or whatever his freaking name is. Come on, baby. You got this, buddy. Okay, hold on. Let me play it in the player. Sometimes that's all it takes.
need to look at to make these decisions. So I do not think this short pause can affect arrest, because the alien can be arrested before or after that vehicle. But this is, what I understand, talking to the director of ICE, it's a short pause just to make sure we're doing the right thing.
Well, let me challenge you a little bit, Tom, because in the more than 20 plus ICE ride-alongs that I have been fortunate to go along with and document and show our viewers and report on, the majority of them were done through traffic stops, because, so that our audience understands, when ICE agents go out to make a targeted arrest of a criminal illegal alien, largely in sanctuary cities, they have to make an at-large arrest because the local officials did not cooperate to do the preferred method, which is in the jailhouse or in the court where it's peacefully done without a threat to anybody. But when it's at large, your ICE agents for years have preferred the traffic stop. When they come out of the house, they get in the car, it's a very controlled environment, and you have a car down the street to block, and it's pretty smooth unless they do try and flee, putting everyone in danger. But that has been the majority of the arrests I've seen. It is among your top operational methods. And so that's why I ask you, how does this not lead to significant arrest decreases?
Look, but bottom line, that's not a challenge, Grip. I just said there are options in addition to stopping the vehicle. There's an option when he walks out of the house.
In other words, Holman doesn't like this.
Make the arrest now while you identify him before he gets in a 2-ton vehicle. If there are options, you wait till he gets to his destination, make arrest. I'm not saying this is a mainstay of what we do, vehicle stops. But the temporary pause is a decision made just to make sure everything's good. But, you know, there are other options that I think will keep those numbers driven up. Now, a lot of people are saying, you know, I read, well, this is another example of ICE not doing mass deportations. Look, do you know last month, ICE had the highest numbers of arrests in the history of the agency.
So, and there's another good interview, too, that happens here. You can't do this, but it's just going to empower the left more, because they just want amnesty, and there's nothing that's going to make them happy. So doing this is freaking stupid. But Trump is sensitive to some things. He's sensitive to, like, oil prices and the stock market, and he's sensitive to high-profile ICE murders or killings or whatever. So Peter Doocy then sits and talks to Jake Auchincloss, who I think he's a Democrat from Massachusetts. I may have even written a good editorial about him. This is years ago when he was just starting out. And listen to this. Doocy does such a great job confronting him about a post he made.
Jake Auchincloss posted the following on X this week. He said, "Shooting unarmed citizens in the head does not make America safe." Congressman, thank you for being here. Renee Good was driving an SUV. So does your post mean that you think SUVs can't be used as weapons?
Peter, good morning. Thanks for having me on. I think that this administration is trying to gaslight the American public, and it's not going to work because the American public can watch that video. You've got Kristi Noem calling it domestic terrorism. You've got Director Lyon saying it was...
This is from the Renee Good one.
...the civilians' fault for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Here's what Americans see when they see that video. They see a young mother behind the steering wheel of an SUV with a cell phone and a whistle, who cuts the wheels to turn right away from the ICE officer and is shot 3 times in the head. Once through the front window, twice through the passenger window, meaning the vehicle was already moving away at the time those shots were fired. The American public is not going to be lied to.
Did I possibly think that was about Maine? Maybe, yes. But anyway, we've had the same thing in Maine. When I talked to a woman last night, maybe I didn't play this. Maybe this is relevant. Maybe I'm about to play the right cut here. This is the same lady last night. I should call her a kid. She's probably about 25. Last night, when I was up in Biddeford, and I confronted her and said, okay, like, what do you want cops to do?
Never. Never.
Is that what happened today?
Yes.
Was it murder?
Start from the beginning.
Is murder acceptable on any level?
Never.
Never. Never.
Is that what happened today?
Yes.
Was it murder or was it self-defense? Do we know? We don't know yet, right?
So with Renee Good, was it murder or self-defense?
I'd say self-defense in that one. She was driving the car.
Totally disagree.
I
Oh, but she was driving. Why didn't she just get out of the car?
No, No,
Why
if
did
this
he
is the
come
front
in
of, I'm
front
gonna
of her
step
car?
towards you. I'm not being aggressive.
To try to get her to stop? Well, it doesn't mean she's allowed to run him over, that he got in front.
This way.
Like, why didn't just do what the cops say? You do what the cops say, right? I do what the cops say.
Why should I trust a cop?
I guess we did play this because the episode I think is called "Why Should I Trust the Cops?" So yeah, why should I trust the cops? Well, I mean, okay, so what are we going to do here? Nobody's going to trust the cops. They're not allowed to do anything if it has to do with immigrants, which is what the left always has been doing. It's always been a form of bullying, and so now we're screwed. And now we're screwed. Now the administration is capitulating. I hope it doesn't last long. Just stick to your guns. Who cares? We're going to get killed in the midterms in Congress anyway, in the House. Who cares? Who cares? There's not a lot like we can do about some things. But if we're going to do the right thing, here's the stories from the Miami Herald. Mexican man is killed by truck as he flees immigration on foot. So there you go. So this guy ran away. 28-year-old man was killed by a truck while fleeing immigration agents in St. Augustine, Florida. Like, what do you want to do here? The left is not satiable. They want to have their thing. They want to have open borders and amnesty, and that's it. And there's nothing else that they're looking for. So stop trying to work with these people. Just stop trying to work with them. It's not going to work. Meanwhile, keep these people back on their own. You know, the thing that makes me optimistic about the left when they've adopted just these radical ideas that aren't based in any logic or anything. This is simply based in no human is illegal. Like, what is that? Is that thought out? We have legislation on the books that say that some people are in illegal status. Indeed, there's all sorts of different stati out there. And for them to say that, no, man, this is just emotional billboarding, sloganeering. There's nothing to it. And so we can't have a civilization if we cater to all of their ego tantrums. We can't do that. But they're in a bind because they just want power now, and they see where the base is going. So they're in a tough situation. They see that the base wants, because Trump is mean, the base loves and wants boys and girls to be butchered. They want boys on girls teams. They want as much LGBTQI, indigenous, SEL2, first, second spirit. They want to hear all that stuff because we're bad, because colonialism. Like I said, they want anybody over to beat. They want Iran to beat us. Certainly, absolutely. They hate the Jews. They're very confident about that. And so now you've got these politicians who are just twisting and don't know how to act. And some of them have just walled themselves in, and it's freaking delicious. This is Jeremy Scahill, some dude, I don't know, who is, I think, pro-Palestinian. I assume that's what he is. Or maybe he's not. But either way, all I know is that he boxes Ro Khanna in. Ro Khanna's running for president, who the latest thing you saw about him last week was that he was a huge Graham Plattner fan. Well, they've moved on here, and listen to how this guy boxes Ro Khanna in. Because Ro Khanna doesn't want to say he hates the Jews. He was supposed to be a middle-of-the-road guy, a guy who was actually a Zionist at one point, but he's trying to be president, and so the rank-and-file Democrats have scared him.
Israeli civilians are dying in these attacks because of the apartheid. You know, Palestinians have a right to kill Israeli soldiers, Congressman? On October 7th, when they attacked the military bases in the Gaza envelope, did the Qassam brigades and Suraya al-Quds have a right to kill Israeli soldiers? Yes or no?
Uh-oh.
On October 7th, did Palestinians have a right to attack?
Listen to him having trouble answering this. His eyes are looking askew, I assume, at some aide saying, give me a freaking answer.
Israeli military bases in the Gaza envelope, yes or no?
I mean, I think October 7th attack was a terrorist attack, so I don't justify.
Was it a terrorist attack when the first targets that were hit on the morning of October 7th were multiple military bases? Did Palestinian forces have a right to attack those military bases?
I am not for violence against in any way. I mean, I am for making sure that we end the
Do they have a
occupation.
right to do it, Congressman? Do they have a right to attack Israeli soldiers?
No, I'm not going to say that Hamas had a right to attack Israeli soldiers or kill Israelis. Like I don't think that advances peace or advances Palestinian statehood.
Does Israel have a right to drop a single bomb on Gaza in response to October 7th?
I believe Israel had the right to get people who killed the civilians, but not in the way they went about it, which I've said is genocide.
But the Palestinians don't have a right to attack the very military bases that are running the killing operations on October 6th, 2023, or October 5th, 2023. It's a double standard. You're saying there are ways that Israel should be able to kill Palestinians, but there is never a condition under which Palestinians can attack armed, uniformed soldiers of a force that is still considered an occupying force under international law. I don't make it make sense to me how those
I
two
come
things
from
are
a
not
tradition
total
of
hypocrisy.
King and Gandhi. My grandfather was in jail for.
I'm aware of your family history. Do you think King would say, "Well, they can attack the Viet Cong, but I don't want them to kill"?
I don't think anyone. I don't know what Gandhi would say. I don't think my grandfather would say that the Palestinians should have armed resistance to Israeli occupation. I think they would argue for a much more nonviolent approach.
Because Gandhi was, like MLK was, peace through pacifism, right, and change through pacifism. But the fact that it took Ro Khanna so long to even work up this argument that Israel shouldn't be doing genocide, but October 7th was bad. I freaking love this, and it goes on for a little bit. He squirms more, and freaking make them all squirm.
But America, I think, in ending aid, in ending military sales, in not being a defender of Israel in the UN, just vetoing resolutions against Israel, would make tremendous progress. I mean, maybe we're on a scale of 1 to 10, and you're at a 10, and I'm saying let's go to a 6, 7, 8. I don't know where that would be. And right now, America's at a 1.
No, we're at a 10 because of a genocide that was enabled, supported, armed, and funded by the United States. And I am baffled as to how you can say that Israel had a right to drop a single bomb on Gaza in response to October 7th, but Palestinians, according to you, have no right whatsoever to ever kill an Israeli occupation.
Palestinians have right to justice, which is in the case of...
Do they have a right to armed resistance against Israeli occupation soldiers in uniform? Do they ever have a right to kill an Israeli soldier?
No.
I think if it's a self-defense, if they feel like there's an illegal attack on them by a violent...
By the way, this may be enough to end Ro Khanna, because he's satisfied nobody.
Or by an Israeli soldier, and that's illegal. In a school or on a civilian, and then of course they should have justice.
But the entire thing is illegal, Representative Khanna. The entire occupation of Gaza, the managing their diet, the mowing the lawn, the constant killing of them. The perspective of many Palestinians is that they're being collectively punished and they're fighting for their very existence, and that the bases that surround Gaza were the primary murderers on a military level of the population of Gaza. So what
Israel gave it back. They gave it back to you to do with what you would with it, and you elected Hamas, and you've used it as a terror center. I don't give an F about these people in there.
I'm understanding whether it's Hamas and Islamic Jihad or it's independent Palestinians. How is it that you can stand here and in any way justify the Israelis dropping bombs on Gaza, but never find a way in which it's justifiable for Palestinians to kill an armed soldier of a force that is under international law an occupation force? I don't understand it.
Well,
I ask you to reconsider this position.
Well, I will look at it, but I don't think that
I will look at it. You puss.
Solution in that area is to encourage
but you're afraid of being called pro-Hamas. That's what this boils down to. Because I bet if we were talking off the record privately, and I said this to you, you would acknowledge that people around the world have a right to resistance by all means necessary.
I've always been for peaceful resistance.
The problem is, Jeremy Scahill, is that Israel is civilized. And the people in the strip of land called Palestine aren't. That's why nobody around there wants them.
It's
But how is peaceful resistance saying the Israelis
I
have a
mean,
right to drop a single
just
bomb?
like it's under segregation. I wouldn't have said that go kill people who are engaged in segregation against you. I mean, I'm much more Dr. King than Malcolm X. I mean,
Are you much more slave rebellions were justified against people that were raping, hanging, murdering Africans who had been kidnapped? I mean, I'm sorry. I spend most of my day and night talking with Palestinians, working with Palestinians. My colleague Hossam Shabat was assassinated by the Israelis, and you're saying they have no right ever to use force.
Most of the Palestinians I met, and maybe a few days, are not talking about the kind of armed resistance that you are. They just want to live their lives in dignity and peace and not have the Israeli settlers oppress them.
But you're a member of the United States Congress who is justifying, albeit you've been very critical of Israel's war against Gaza, but you seem to be drawing a line that says that there are some cases in which Israel is justified to attack Palestinians, but only those responsible for October 7th. But you can't find a shred of justification for any Palestinian to attack the very armed forces operating under a nation state flag that is backed by the United States. And you're saying that there is no condition under which a Palestinian has a right to kill soldiers who are posted at military bases, enforcing by murder and forced starvation and deprivation an illegal occupation of Gaza. That's what doesn't make sense to me. I don't see how you reconcile those two positions.
Because I think that the armed resistance is only going to be ineffective given the power differentials. It's similar to what Gandhi thought in terms of how he took on the British Empire, and that having a moral force of civil resistance and appealing to the world's conscience is going to be much better chance of getting dignity and peace.
2019, the Palestinians organized the Great March of Return, which was a mass nonviolent mobilization at the gates of the concentration camp walls and fence in Gaza. And you know what Israeli soldiers did, Representative Khanna? They had a competition to who could shoot the most kneecaps of Palestinians.
Well, I think that
but this is what Khanna gets, because he accepted the premise of everything this dude said. Once you accept that premise, then you have to accept that to lash out and terrorize is okay. That's what you wanted. You wanted to be locked in this socialist Marxist box with the anti-Semites, and there you go. You got it. There you go. But there's a lot of people like this guy who's been doing this for a long time who's good at this. And once he knows you own you, he knows he owns you, then he freaking owns you. Such a freaking bad look. I want to get to a story that Alice Shattuck brought up. She sent me. I almost had her on today. But wait, my post from 2 minutes ago. Okay, is that from 2 minutes ago? Okay, hold on. Let me check the thing for a second. I'm thinking the midterms may be much closer than we anticipated. Dems are being pulled into the hard left. That works in certain places, but not nationwide. We'll see. We'll see. Mowing the lawn. Is Tom now an Islamist? No, although I did mow the lawn today. And I thought that this freaking Canadian wildfire, these clouds were like tornado clouds and stuff. I was like, damn, that would be great. I'm on Team Israel. I like Netanyahu. I'm a fan of his. I understand that he wants the U.S. to be heavily involved with stuff going on there. And so did Churchill, and I get it. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. Here's the Alice thing. Ready? Listen to this. First of all, did you hear the lady? The lady. Did I play this last night? The lady who sounds like Chris Farley. What's her name? Lake or something? No, Haley Stevens, Democrat, Michigan.
I am going to be working on our behalf. I am going to be telling the stories on our behalf. And you better believe I'm going to be doing it with a little bit of joy, a little bit of enthusiasm, a little bit of energy, and a little bit of stick it to them. Because that's the Michigan way.
People are all saying that she's like Chris Farley. I'm all for her. Okay, here's the big thing Alice brought up. Or do you want to hear Jim Acosta first, just being a effing loser? No, okay, we'll do the Alice thing first. Okay. New broadcasting guidelines for women's athletics have been released to crack down on camera angles that in slow motion replays that sexualize athletes. The guidelines highlight shots broadcasters are urged to avoid. In other words, don't show her ass, of course. And these lady athletes have like fantastic asses. Top female athletes say they've been distracted by camera angles while competing. The ones that I've seen have kind of enjoyed it. And it is great. Seeing these beautiful women in their bodies is absolutely fantastic. And there's too many. I'm sorry. There's too many great. And you know what? The women ogle the guys, too, in all these sports. So give me a freaking break. But there are some of these. Like I'm watching this pole vaulter right now, lady. I mean, this is. I mean, I don't want. Liz is going to yell at me for getting horny. I'm not. But I'm just saying. Come on. Yeah. No. There's no straight man who ever watches the like figure skating with women in it for anything other than that they're hot and their bodies look beautiful and like the way they contort and move and like yeah. So like let's stop it. Come on, we can rise to the occasion. Here's Jim Acosta at the Reflecting Pool. Talk about this is if you want to know like what an overpaid loser is. Like this freaking talentless jerk. Listen to what he's doing, spending his time doing.
Well, there's one person in particular who's going to look really stupid now that the reflecting pool has been drained down at the National Mall. There are no signs of any slashes or a 350-foot gash down the middle of the reflecting pool, as Donald Trump has been lying about. There are signs of a shoddy paint job that was done down here. You can see some of the splotchy paint marks up and down the bottom of this reflecting pool, but nothing like he has been talking about over the last several weeks. If anything, you see what looks like a very long drainage trench that runs down the middle of the reflecting pool. But again, no major signs of any kind of...
Wow, Jim. Man, you broke the story. You walked out of your DC apartment and walked 4 blocks to the reflecting pool, and Trump was wrong. So that way you and George Conway and like the Midas Touch guys and the Lincoln Project guys can all be like, yeah! What a loser. Oh, fucking loser. My God. Here's Elena Kagan, who pays tribute to the late Senator Lindsey Graham, recalling how the South Carolina Republican closed party lines to support her nomination. I'm all for this. We're for Elena Kagan.
I would like to say a few words about Senator Graham's untimely passing. Senator Graham, of course, was a member of this House before he became a senator. And in part, I wish to express the entire court's condolences to his sister, the rest of his family, his many friends and colleagues here in the House, in the Senate, and elsewhere, on behalf of the entire court. But I'd also like to make a few more personal comments. You know, it's not very often. Well, I'll just say that I didn't get many Republican votes when I was confirmed to the Supreme Court. And that's the usual state of things today. Not many Republicans vote for the nominees of somebody selected by a Democratic president, and not many Democrats do the same for someone selected by a Republican president. And one would not expect such a cross-party, if you will, vote, certainly from somebody from a deep red or deep blue state. And yet Senator Graham voted for me. And I vividly remember, because he was a vivid person, the conversation that we had in his office prior to my hearing, where he got to know me. It was a long conversation. He took the opportunity to get to know me. He questioned me with great seriousness and great knowledge about my record as Solicitor General, including particularly the various terrorism issues that office had dealt with over the time I was Solicitor General. And I still more vividly remember the conversations that we had at my hearing itself. In the last day or so, many people have talked about how funny Senator Graham was. I think Al Franken said he was the funniest man in the Senate. But what I remember about that hearing was that somehow Senator Graham made me look funny, which is a harder thing entirely, by asking me what I had done on Christmas the following year. And I'll skip the back and forth, but many people said to me afterwards, That exchange with Senator Graham was the moment my confirmation was sealed. I want to express my gratitude towards him, not only for his support, but for approaching the confirmation process with the kind of seriousness that he did and the kind of respect he did. And I never got to know Senator Graham very well, but I can see why so many people will deeply miss him. And I just wanted to convey that on behalf of me, and again, express the condolences of the entire court to his family and friends.
I love it. Jesus, can we do a little more of that? I know a lot of you guys hate Lindsey Graham, but come on. BioDude just posted something, and I feel like I responded to it. I feel like that I should. It hits me in the heart, so I feel like I should respond to it. BioDude, if you don't know, he's a Minifan. He spends most of his time that's related to me lusting after Alice, and denigrating me. But he puts something out there, which I'm fine with, by the way, because I'm proud of that Alice is good. I think she's good looking too. So I'm not saying that I'm literally have purchased a cuck chair, which is most of what that group thinks. But I am proud that she looks good in my mind. And when other people think so too, I'm like, great, see? Now praise me, please. What did I do? Oh, it's me, BioDude. Okay, here we go. BioDude says, this is 1 hour ago, my daughter is at overnight camp and it's killing me. What's the etiquette for checking in? I just want to know if she's having a good time. If this is what it's like when she goes to college, she's not going to college. I hear you, dude. I hear you. And so 4 years ago, 2022, my son went to camp in Maine, and I was so afraid. I dropped him off, and when he first got there, he was like, didn't know how to play with the stumps of wood or the swings and this and that. He was excited to be there, and he's jumping around, and I'm like, man, what if they all know how to do this, and he doesn't know how to do any of the things? And he's not an outdoors guy. He's not a hard ass. Or he's like, what if he's not happy here, and what if he's not? And so, I mean, I got so freaking crazy that I was so worried about him, and to leave him, and I was telling Alice that I was so worried about him. And I was really like emotionally not fine with it because we had never had a kid go away. I know you guys, a lot of you have already been through this, and you'll remember this. Or some of you have yet to go through it. Maybe you will soon or whatever. But you can equate it to other people or things as well. But so I'm like sweating about this. I'm like, I don't know if he's having fun. And I was like, I became unhinged. It's funny because the camp was posting on Instagram like pictures, and I only saw one of him like in the first day, and like by the third day I was like attacking them on Instagram, believe it or not. Like I look at it now and I was like, what the frick was I thinking? I'm like, can you enough pictures of this chick with the bass? Can I see my son, please? I was so worried about it. I was a freaking lunatic. But I was so worried. So then Alice just says, F it, Tom. On that Friday, she said, screw it, Tom. Go up. I'm going to find you a hotel. And go up near him and check on him. And there was the night. I think the night technically was... Yeah, Friday night, I guess it was when I went up there, because that's the night you're supposed to check on him. If you want to, parents can join and see the campfire. So I flew up there on that Friday night, and I was just nervous. And Alice found me a funny thing how this works like this. Alice found me a dirt cheap hotel in a hotel called Poland Spring Hotel in Maine, which has later now become a really big part of our lives. And like my sister-in-law was married there. It was a great wedding and all this stuff. It's like a big part of our lives. But I went there and I checked into the Poland Spring Hotel, and I drove down to the camp, and I'm like, I hope he's not crying. I hope he's all right. I hope he's in the cabin. I hope he's... And so I get there and I'm looking around for him. I want to just see him. I don't need to talk to him. I just want to see him and that he's not sad. So I look around. I don't see him out in the fields where the kids are playing. This is a great camp. So they play crazy stuff where they play they shoot each other with Nerf guns, and They recreate battles, Battle of Bunker Hill, Battle of the D-Day battle, like a whole. This camp is great. And I don't see that. I see where they go hiking. I walk over there and I say, and he's not there. And I'm texting Alice this whole time. I'm like, dude, he's not here. I don't know where he is. Like maybe he panicked and ran into the woods. Like maybe I go into his cabin, where he should have been, and there's no kid in there. And I'm like, and then I go out to where I could hear that there's some kayakers coming in. I'm like, okay, he's gonna be with the kayakers. He'll be with the kayakers. He'll be with the kayakers. And they had no cell phones at this place or anything. So we had, like, once you leave your kid there, and he's not with the kayakers. And I'm like, holy crap, Alice. And I'm texting her, and I said, I think he's fucking gone. I think he's, like, dead or whatever. And so I go looking back out to the field that I'd already been at, and I'm fucking in a panic now. And I've never been like this before. I'm in a panic now. And I said to Alice, Alice, I think there's something wrong. I think he's not here. I think maybe something happened to him. They couldn't find out how to tell us. Maybe he fucking walked out and drowned. Maybe he's whatever. And so I see this dude, and he says, hey, because I was late. I was earlier than any adult who was supposed to be there, who was apparently, he said, hey, who are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for my son, James. He said, oh, should be out there somewhere, looking at the field. And I'm like, I don't see, I've already looked over here. And I said, oh, okay, thanks. And I keep looking. And then I see him. And I see him with another kid, and he looks over at me. He's across the field. He said, oh, wait, that's my dad. That's my dad. And he came, like, running over with this big smile because he was freaking loving it. And I was, like, just, like, I'm getting upset now. I was so panicked for him that I couldn't believe it. It's like, one, that he acknowledged that that's my dad over this big, fat, embarrassing, sweating, worrying person. It was like, that's already good on you that you did that. But then I saw him, and he was so happy, and then I hung out with them all night while they did the campfire songs, and we were supposed to bring up a water bottle for him. We forgot it, and so I bought a nice one at the pro shop at the Poland Spring Hotel, and I was so happy to bring it down to him, and I jammed ice into it so it would be like perfect for him, and made it totally cold for him. It was man on a mission. It was like freaking crazy. And I said, everything's going great. And he said, yeah. By the way, I was supposed to, like, pick him up, I think, either a week from there or the next day, whatever. And, he looked like nature got to him. Mosquito bites, sunburns, all the perfect stuff. And I was so freaking... And that's what great thing. And Alice that was such a clutch thing from her, too. Like, I had to go. And then and so, yes, BioDude, there you go. If you listen to this, you may listen to this. You got to do what you got to do. And if the kid goes away, sometimes you got to know. And, of course, this last year, I just dropped him off, a month ago. And now he's 4 years older. Now he's, like, a veteran of the camp. He's one of the boys. Next year, he can be a CIT. Like, he's, like, not effing around anymore. This time I drop him off. And... usually I hang out with him and say, what do you want to do? And he just says, oh, I don't know. You can hang out a little bit, or I can show you around. Like, this time he immediately got into cool mode. And I said, all right, James, so you good? He's like, yeah, kind of don't need you anymore, in front of his bros, like to show that he's too cool for his dad. And I was like, good. That's great. The only thing that got me this time was I didn't hug him goodbye. And like, I was like, what if something happens? What if something happens? And I never didn't hug him. But he didn't want to hug. He wanted to be with his bros. And I hugged him when I picked him up. This time he forbade me from bringing any family to see talent night or anything. He didn't want me to visit him halfway through. It was like, he's too cool. He is over it. But yes, so that is my, what a pussy. God. What a pussy. I did mow some lawn, though, today. And I drink wine now, which shows you. I'm no longer an active alcoholic. That means that I'm one of these people who drinks wine now. It means I have class. What that means. Okay, let me see what's up there for the chat. Splash, I'm going to get to your thing. Is Tom now... How will that work with volleyball and track and field? The uniforms are basically bikinis. I know, dude. It's the only reason why anybody would ever watch. Beach volleyball, of course. Splash says Elena Kagan, not attractive. I agree. Splash says I went to college in a crappy middle of Massachusetts town after going to an all-boys Catholic school. Epic run. Went to college in a crappy middle. My parents sent me to overnight Catholic camp for a while. Lake Swansea, New Hampshire. Ooh, I don't like that. Where was the place in the middle of Massachusetts where you went to college? All boys Catholic. Splash says used to drink Poland Spring vodka in college. $5 for a handle. Splash, it's not affiliated with the hotel, I can tell you that. Or the water, I'm pretty sure. But I am familiar with Poland Spring vodka. Yes, that is the bottom shelf, right next to Cossack. Cheswick says I was not in Vegas. Julian Phil says, did summer camp as a kid, cried, scared when parents dropped me off. Fast forward 2 weeks, cried when it was time to go home. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. That's what I hear. That's what I like to hear. Peter Rabbit will be going to space camp on the ISS. That's possible. Sally went to space camp. Her aunts paid for her to go to space camp a few years ago. But she's a different animal. She's a social butterfly. Splash says, my whole algorithm has been absolutely taken over by posts about some black kid. Sorry, it's not. This isn't funny. Who drowned in Mississippi, and it's apparently proof of white supremacy. That's what they're trying to make that, essentially. It's a weak case that they're doing that, and terrible that they're doing that to the kids. Maybe we'll talk about that soon. Alice and I have talked about them. Splash says, box wine? No, this is Woodbridge Chardonnay. So it's not exactly top. I don't care. Who cares? Like, who are we kidding? Splash says, MD 2020? No, although... Splash said I had sex with a lot of 4s and 5s. If you could do... Nichols College. How do I know Nichols College? I know Nichols College. How do I know that? Nichols College. How do I know that? MD 2020 is a very interesting story about MD 2020. When I dated, we were all out one night, and that's when in 93, and that's when I kind of sparked, for those of you who are Gen Xers or made out with, the girl from Susan from Malden. And I was so afraid and intimidated by her that I didn't call her or anything afterward because I was intimidated. And so she took that as me being cool. And so she called me and said, hey, it's me. VB he might have gone to Nichols, actually. I think that's right. And so she said, I want to come over and just see what you're up to. And I said, oh, sure. So she came over dressed totally inappropriately. There was never a girl in Winchester, Massachusetts who ever dressed like this. And I was like 20 at the time. She came over with Mad Dog 2020, and she hung out and spent the night. I remember her during. I'm gonna get graphic here because who cares? I remember her during the night and the next day saying, "You don't do this a lot, do you?" Meaning romantic stuff, and she was correct. I did not, and I was scared. But then we had to drive up to New Hampshire because the next day was a Sunday to get to. Why is this frozen? Why is this video frozen? And to go get more, because it was her dad's Mad Dog 2020. We had to drive up to Salem, New Hampshire at Rockingham, back when the track was still there, but not anything else, to a gas station to get more MD 2020. And so I have a soft spot in my heart for it. I got better. Splash says I somehow got 2 degrees in useless studies, deposited being drunk for 4 years. I also did absolutely nothing with either degree. By the way, I saw who did I see last night? Was that Splash? I saw it last night. That was Splash. I saw you last night, right? Not in my hotel room. In Maine, right? Yeah. Hi, nice to see you again. Okay. So that is that. Let's go to the chat, shall we? Do. By the way, how good is it that I was only 20, Susan from Malden is 23, and she brings the booze over and is like when you're 20 and she's 23, that is a big difference.
Sorry, I'm just so excited. I'm not tired or bored. I'm excited. Hold on. Let the dog out. What's the matter with you? I don't want to pee on the floor.
Yeah, that's been a problem now. We have to just throw away a rug. We're like rugless on our ground floor now.
Did you hear that? Wait. I gotta check my phone. Hold on. Okay. Oh, Steve Robinson, what a card. He texts me too. Tom, that burn barrel was short and a lot like a creek that's slowly drying up because
How dare you?
of lack of water.
I'll
give you that. It's driving up to
Biddeford, Maine, sir. That's 600 miles
to Maine and back. And dealing with people who want to beat you over the head with a skateboard, etc. and try to take care of Featherston. Man, that guy would walk. He would walk into a furnace.
I know.
I give him so much credit. He's really good, and he has no fear. That man is incredible.
He has no fear.
But boy, that burn barrel was a bit shy of stellar.
That is bull crap. That was a great burn barrel yesterday. It just so happened that I was tattered. It happens. Jesus. Oh my goodness. Sometimes my body. You know what it is? It's all the difference, and this is the difference between today and yesterday. Like that's why tomorrow I'm effed. I'm gonna have to somehow get a nap in. If I get like 5 hours of sleep now, I'm no bueno. I'm not done cooking. I need more than that now. It didn't used to be like that. When I was 20 years old, my rule then was had to be 3, definitely had to be 2, or else I was effed. It's not like that anymore. Now that I'm in my elder years, I need to have 5 and then another nap to start well, I'm fat, but I'm getting thinner little by little through natural means, discipline, healthy diet. But like if I mow the lawn, which I did some today, by the way, and I know none of you guys do because you're all 1%ers and have landscapers. Like I will feel certain lawn aches for tomorrow and the day after. It's just how it is. Just how it is.
Remember Tucker Carlson took him out?
Splash has 2 most closeted Republicans, Lindsey Graham and Tom Shattuck.
What?
Alice?
What? I think you're straight.
Thank you.
That is not the ringing endorsement you may think it is, Tom. We're getting to the source.
Wait a second. Was that 2 days ago? Was that Sunday with Alice? She didn't say She didn't say I think you're straight. She said I think you're straight. I think you can read it. There's a video. No, she's not on video. F.
Remember Tucker Carlson took him out?
Splash has 2 most closeted Republicans, Lindsey Graham and Tom Shattuck. Alice?
I think you're straight.
Thank you.
That is not the ringing endorsement you may think it is, Tom. We're getting to the source.
I believe you edited that, first of all, obviously. And also there was a delay. That was her problem.
The other night, Charlie brought up some excellent points about the quality of the production of the Burn Barrel Pod versus Tom's old days at WTKK. Tommy went back and took a listen to the same episode, and I caught some clips that I thought you'd find interesting. First is your defense. The other night, Charlie brought up some excellent points about the quality of the production of the Burn Barrel Pod versus Tom's old days at WTKK.
Yeah, of course.
Tommy went back and took a listen to the same episode, and I caught some clips that I thought you'd find interesting. First is your defense of what you used to do when you were at WTKK with Michael Graham.
I found ways to make sure that I was like kind of hot and heavy with the effects and drops and multi-track editing during the show, and I hit a stride.
Oof.
So you're hot and heavy with the effects and the multi-tracks and the drops and hitting your stride. Talk about someone trying to do their self-evaluation for their manager. So let's play some of those hard-hitting, heavy effects that were in the middle of a discussion in the same show.
You sent it to us.
I didn't recently. Is your Twitter?
Oh, it's a full episode.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Interesting indeed, but not as interesting as hitting his stride with this comment.
Yeah.
Holy frig.
No, that was not manipulated, Tom. I'll even give you the timestamp. That was live to tape. And just a couple more. Here's the lack of a cough button. And my favorite. You are Curly from the Three Stooges.
I'm proud of me.
I'm proud of you too, buddy. Nice job.
How dare you? How dare you? Woe betide you. How dare you? You know what it's like having him on you? Ooh, Splash says, oh, so I didn't see you, Splash? Wait. I had banana, grape, MD20, threw up at a pool table at the Polish club in Webster, Mass. Got banned. It's tough to get banned from a Polish club. Beautiful women. Polish women are beautiful. Saw you where? I'm in Nantucket. Tom, I was exhausted from interviewing tattooed goth liberal girls with daddy issues. Ooh, there were some great ones, man. Oh, as soon as Alice finalizes our divorce, I am grabbing a mic. I'm man on the street. Wait, if I didn't see, who did I see then? Alice! Who did I see last night? Oh, Chappie. Chappie. Okay, I saw Chappie. Chappie, you're on this? Okay, I saw Chappie. He knows Featherston, too. Okay. All right. Hear that? Not gay. So, how about them apples? I got a number. Okay, where's the closing music? Thank you very much, guys. It's very fun. Tomorrow I'll play the biting retort from Bio Dude as he rips into me for being a puss. With all due respect, after knocking up a beautiful woman like Alice 60 times, she still can't affirm your heterosexuality? That is incorrect. She has said it several times. I have it on tape. How dare you? How dare you? Freaking. Here's my son Cyril making a dolphin noise.
Do it again.
Alice claims that I sound like a big, fat, drunken jerk when I say, do it again. It's not what I said. Dare you. Straight, by the way, affirmed. That is with a raised seal from a notary public named Alice Shattuck. Correct. Thank you, guys. Love you some Maines. Haven't been there in over a year. Well, come up and see us in Chappie, too. It was fun. It was fun seeing people. Unfortunately, I was just kind of working, and I was screwing up that broadcast, too, yesterday. But this is great. Tomorrow is Wednesday. It's the day that Alice can put me through hell. Please, chat messages tomorrow, please. This is an important one. You guys are awesome. Thanks.
C'est la vie.
Not tired, not yawning. 100% total articulation was spot on. I was, and I'll say it because you're afraid to say it, I was flawless tonight. There you go. I'll take your apology.